And welcome everybody to another episode of Mac Yak number 142 for October 28th, 2021. And tonight we have a very, very special guest on tonight. He's been on here before, and we've actually had him on to talk, and trying to get him to say more than 2 words is a pain. But tonight he should be giving us a lot of words. So as he's chugging down the coffee there, huh?
It's 2 a.m. there.
So say hello there, Christian.
Hello.
That's one word.
That's all we're going to get him. That's all we paid him for. It's okay.
But yeah, we invited Christian on after what happened, and we'll be talking about that in a little bit later. But first off, how's everybody doing tonight?
Miserable.
That's a way to start.
Anybody been doing anything special this week?
Working.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Smart media card reader.
Ooh. Sounds like a new live here, right?
So I have to
ThinkPad.
I do have to raise this because I was watching Steve's stream the other day, and it was another one of these streams where Steve goes in with a plan. A few minutes in, those plans get dashed, and then he spends the rest of the time trying to figure out what's doing. And so for anyone who missed it, it was absolutely wonderful. Steve started a live stream, and the premise was he had a camera and he was going to infrared transmit some photos he had taken from that camera to his iMac. And of course, we're all keen to see that. You know, this is that technology that never really went anywhere, but you know. And within a few minutes, Steve finds out that the model of camera he has is not IR enabled.
It has this stupid window on it. It looks like it is, but it's not.
It's probably because they wanted to save some money. They wanted to save some money, so they made the same exact camera, but they just took the IR guts out.
I'm
right?
pretty sure it was some stupid regulatory thing because the European version has it, and ours, the one released in the States, does not. And yeah, so I'm glad somebody enjoyed that stream because I was 20 minutes into it and I'm like, crap.
He's reading the manual. He's going, oh no, this doesn't have IR on the end of the code names.
But I will tell you, I bought not 1, but 2 Kodak cameras that have IR ports on them. The manual states they do. A spec site says they do.
Okay.
They should be here tomorrow.
But there's a part 2 coming.
There is definitely a part 2, and I'm glad I figured that out at the live stream and not like when I sat down and said, all right, this is going to be the video I'm going to do this week, and then realized, oh, none of this is working, and it wasn't televised for me being silly. But
So Trina's asking, where is Jay tonight? And Jay is actually in somewheres in another state. I won't say where exactly.
Eastern New York or Western New York.
I wasn't going to say, but then
give his exact location away. Let's have someone find him.
He is in the land of snow.
Yeah. So he's helping a friend of his move out of this place, so he'll be there for about at least till next week. So
just long enough for me to drive to his place to grab some things and skedaddle before he notices.
Yeah. But anyways, that's where Jay's at. If he gets a chance to get in here, he will try to, but I doubt it. I think they're going from one place to another right now driving, so I don't think he's going to have
He's just listening to this going, are they going to talk crap about me while I'm not here? That's Hi, Jay!
It's worth mentioning that he's actually doing something very kind and charitable. Now, that's going to baffle a lot of people that know Jay.
Yeah, that's very true. That is...
He must have owed the guy or something like that.
Yeah.
It's terrifying that he would do anything nice for anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I say hello to him, and he's like, "What the blank do you want?"
Yeah, we get to talk about him. He can't defend himself right
yes,
now.
He'll hop on. Don't worry.
Yes, hell froze over. By the way, to let you know.
So anybody done anything else fun recently, or going to plan on doing anything?
Define fun.
Mac
we'll be
related,
talking about it a little later on, but I have been very invested in Tinker Different over the last few days. So
there we go.
Yes, but we will talk about that later on.
Yes.
I am releasing a video about my VCF shenanigans. It's late, but what else is new. So that'll be on Saturday or something like that. But there's a preview on Patreon. There'll be a full-length one of that tomorrow. So
cool. Yeah. I haven't watched it yet on Patreon. I need to go watch it.
Yeah, it was just like a 15-minute little thing. But the thing that you get from my patron stuff is that cut that I released has clips in there you won't see in the other one. So you get extra bonus.
Awesome.
That's the way I spend it, at least.
At least I know all my hard-earned money is going somewhere useful.
Yes. Hey, your IBM makes a good appearance, so there you go.
All right, guys. So
do I, unfortunately.
So we don't have any news to put out tonight. So I guess we'll just dive right into the topic.
It sucks.
You know, we could make up some news. Grudy just released another video.
There you go. He did not destroy what he was working on. Spoiler alert.
No blood.
Yes.
But there was a segment with shaky cam, so you know it was actually a Grudy video.
Okay.
I will say that...
Does it come with lousy audio, too?
I will say I didn't buy anything, but I know Joe of Joe's Computer Museum bought one of the new MacBook Pros. He bought a 14-inch one. And I, with permission, hijacked his live stream the other day and did some benchmarks. And I think some of that was pretty interesting. So he has the M1 Pro, or maybe it's just whatever it is, the low-end 14-inch, the cheapest one you can get. And so I sent him Final Cut Pro video assets and a project file just to see, comparing things to see how fast that machine would work. And, is it a viable alternative to me using a Mac Pro instead of, whatever. And so I have this 2012 Mac Pro, dual processor, 3.0, 6-core Xeon, whatever, almost 40 gigs of memory, SSD, and all that fun stuff.
Totally screwed up, by the way.
Yeah, well, there's something. It's a little special. But I exported my video, and it took...
So is the owner.
Yes, well, we all know that. So I exported the video, 1080p video. It took about 7 minutes and 40 seconds to render on this thing. He did the same thing. Took 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So those things are screamers no matter what configuration you get. And a friend who... Tom, you may know him from the Blue Scuzzy stuff. He did a test as well, and it came about 30 seconds slower. This was on a first-gen M1 Mac Mini. So I'm now thinking, what model do I buy?
I was going to say, Steve, tell them how many times you've showed us the screen where you have it in your cart, and you just like...
every time this computer does something wonky, I'm like, well, and
he goes back and looks at the card.
Now, it wasn't this computer. It was at my work laptop I was using. I happened to go onto the Apple Store, and I was just looking, just browsing, because I can't afford it right now, but I was just browsing, and all of a sudden it kernel panicked. So the machine was like, no! How dare you replace me?
It's cursed.
Yeah, well, that work machine has been through a lot, let's just say.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, just remember, it's only 1.5 mortgage payments.
Yeah, only.
So I don't think the bank is going to get too worked up over those 1.5 mortgage payments.
I don't know about that. One of those, if I max one out, that's about one.
Steve doesn't need a maxed out one. He just needs a good one.
I honestly, the one I was looking at would be pretty maxed out.
I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, my single processor Mac Core will run circles around his dual.
Well, see, the thing is, if I were to get one of these machines, the idea would be for it to replace this for all intents and purposes. That being said, what was the base model? Almost $2,000 or whatever. You double that price.
Like $1,300.
Well, you double the price and max it out. Mostly max it out. A bit of more memory, a bit more SD, whatever. Give it some good specs. It's double the price, but I would wager that would last a little bit longer than the low end one, because that they'll come out with version 18 of Mac OS and it'll be like, oh, only if you have the Pro processor will this treat you run on that. But whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say, Patrick has a good point. Why don't you get the Apple Card?
Because I already got the Apple Card. The iPhone is on the Apple Card. That's why my phone is tight at the moment. But we will see. I have to catch up with some recapping work, and maybe I can afford it.
Yeah. All right, guys. So,
by the way, Mike, your price of your PowerBook went up by 20 times.
and the price of and the price that I'm charging you for keeping it for the last year. By the way, it has officially been a year in 2 weeks.
All right. 20 times 0 is still 0. You're good.
That's what I thought.
Hey, I think we all have something of someone else's at our places. I have stuff of Steve's and Mike's here. Steve has something of mine at his place.
We have to do an old switcheroo.
Yeah,
Steve
we have
has
to.
stuff of mine. I have stuff of Steve's.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go. We just need to sell some body parts. We'll be good.
There you go. You have 2 kidneys.
Yeah, come on. We're young.
There you go. That would finance a top of the line Mac Pro right
Yeah,
there.
there you go.
With my luck, it'll be outdated. They'll release a new one.
And it'll be funny because then he'll give out one, and then his other one will start going bad.
Could you just put the Mac Pro inside me to do the work for me?
And then he's going to say, Mike, can you donate a kidney? It's like, you don't want my kidneys. There ain't nothing in this body is any good anymore. Guaranteed.
All right, guys. So let's go ahead and move on to our first topic tonight. And the reason why we have our guest on tonight is that
We were
just
running
recently,
out of options.
just recently, we had a problem where Macintosh Garden was just gone. I mean, it was starting to come up with a bunch of different weird website addresses. Looked like it got. I almost thought it got hacked.
You mean that wasn't a nightmare? That actually happened?
Well, no, it happened because I was like, what happened to it? Because all of a sudden I'm getting all these different redirects, and it looked almost like somebody had hijacked it and it was trying to spam, or put a virus on my computer or whatnot. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? So, Christian, what happened?
Give us some background.
Oh, well, woke up very early that day. Several calls, Discord, Skype, you name it, alarms going off from the left and the right, everywhere. Macintosh Garden is down. Fine. Check it out. It's not the usual thing where something has frozen or anything like that. Apparently, the old administrator thought it was a good idea to just sell the domain. And this goes back to, I guess, he got it back in 2008, 08. Well, he reached out to the old staff of the old Macintosh Garden, the one that looked like System 7. And he said, of course, I wouldn't feel like I owned Mac Garden. I would just be helping out. And at that time, it was hosted by Home of the Underdogs, PC side of abandonware sites. So I guess in 09, around February, Home of the Underdogs goes dark, and so does the old garden. And 2 months later, in April, the new site launches. Around there, 10, 11, there's donation drives, there are ads, they're trying out torrenting technology, stuff like that. And somewhere around there, they raise well over 800 American dollars for new servers, new hosting, everything like that. Nothing happens. People ask, where did the money go? There's no answer. And the staff that is still on the site and running it, because nobody's seen the old admin, Mady, for forever, pretty much. There's no real answer to what happened to the money, except that he came on Discord early this morning stating that it went to server costs, which I doubt. Took some time, and in 2014, 15, somewhere there, I take over the business. Pretty much unlock everything. There are unlimited sizes for uploads, downloads, ads and tracking, etc. is removed. And a year later, we receive one of the bigger cease and desist letters from Tomo. And around there as well, I received a mail from Mady. Please send me a code so I can transfer the domain to you. That's nice. So everything would be in one basket. I would take care of the domain, the hosting, development, and all of that. And after that, I hear nothing until 2 years later. And this is when he comes back to the site and discovers that he's no longer able to access his administrator's account, which is pretty special in Drupal. The username with ID of 1 has root access to the server. I told him, no, can't have that. You stepped down, you stepped out. Nobody's heard from you. You've been engaging in nothing, pretty much. So he wanted a new account, and administrator rights moved over to that account. And I told him, no, can't have it. I asked him for the code, and I received no response. So he still owns the domain. Another year goes by, and the domain expires, and when you don't pay the bills, they just pull the plug. So around there, it went away for a day or a few days. Hard to remember. But he renews it, finally. Site comes back online. And this year, in September, I remind him to renew the domain. Fine. He says he's going to renew it. And he does. That's nice. And then he asks, do you want to buy the domain off me? That's not what we agreed on, but yeah, fine, okay. What's the asking price? And he returns with $3,000. So stupid price. So I give a stupid counter offer, $100 to cover the renewals that has been going on over the years. And he doesn't reply. It does what he usually does. When I'm sending him a message, he doesn't reply. And suddenly this pops up, domain for sale, $1,000. And we pick it up. Kind of sucks to pay $1,000, I guess, but it's ours now. Meanwhile, there's redirects, some pretty innocent, and there are users reaching hardcore pornography as well. Not the kind of stuff we want people to end up on. So that pretty much sucked. I sent him another letter, and he updated the DNS entries to point back to Cloudflare, but he set the wrong DNS. So the servers are getting slammed with bots and the kind of traffic we don't want. So I've been the last week been monitoring and reconfiguring all the servers and adjusting the settings depending on how the traffic is looking. So it's been a non-stop battle for the past week with the malicious traffic and that kind of stuff. Well, that's where we are now, waiting for the domain to transfer back over to us.
So you got the domain, but it's still pending somewhere?
Yeah, we're waiting for it to be released from the previous registrar.
Okay. But you still you have access to it at least.
No.
Oh.
It's sitting there on Namecheap right now, but I can't update the DNS. I can't touch anything, so it's still out of my hands. But I've been doing the best of the situation.
But does this other individual still have access to it?
Shouldn't have.
Okay.
So essentially, as I said, the situation you've had is that you inherited ultimately. You kind of inherited this project, this website. Inherited control of it, and then sort of just weren't able to get sort of the domain name as part of that inheritance, and it just sort of sat there as it was benign to start off with, just the person just updating it when they felt like it, but then ultimately eventually trying to extort you because they know how important that domain name was to the project. So with the benefit of hindsight, do you sort of wish you'd have changed the domain name all those years ago, like early on, and then just abandoned Macintosh Garden as a name?
In hindsight, it would probably have been the better option, either changing the domain name or changing the domain name and the site name altogether. But that would also involve new graphics, bit of touched up code, stuff like that. And much of the code is custom since I took it over, because it has been requiring a lot of attention code-wise.
Now, so essentially you've got a situation now where you've had to fork out, $1,000 to pay this asshole. What can followers do to help out? There's somewhere we can point them to where they can sort of donate some money to go towards that?
Well, I'd hate to ask for money because taking other people's money always feels bad, even though if it's a donation in good faith, feels weird.
Well, let's say if someone's money was burning a hole in their pocket.
Well, there is Patreon. I have one set up. And there is also PayPal if Patreon isn't or doesn't feel like a good spot to spend your money, I guess.
Yeah, I will say I support Macintosh Garden on Patreon because I feel the amount of stuff I download and contribute to there, if I weren't doing anything to help out, I'd just feel like a jerk because there's a lot going on.
There is just that feeling that I think just sort of runs through my head from time to time. Imagine it wasn't there. That's the horrific feeling I have. I know there's the Macintosh suppository, but it's.
I bought that domain, by the way.
Did you?
Go see where it redirects.
Oh Lord! Now you're gonna have me go type that just to see.
Make sure you spell it correctly.
Yeah, okay. We're all rushing off now to do it. I'm doing it.
Now the PayPal username is Macintosh Garden. Is that correct, Christian? I believe I found it.
What? Where did you find this?
Well, I just made an educated guess, and I just wanted to confirm it before I share it with people, or I won't. Never mind.
Is it .com or .org?
.com.
I know I have email set up in PayPal, but
I sent you a private chat of what I found. There you go, Christian.
Where did you send this?
In the StreamYard dealie.
What's that?
Yeah, it's this new thingy they have. How you find things easily.
Wow, nice. So that's me. I guess it's me.
Would you like me to? Okay. It looks like it's you.
Yeah, it looks like me.
I hope it's you. So there is also a PayPal. I'm going to put the link here just in case you guys feel like supporting that way. Yeah, we just want to make sure. The link here is paypal.me/Macintosh Garden, and that's basically a shortcut to paypal.com/PayPalMe/Macintosh Garden, and that will go directly to the site and help make things be as beautiful and pixelated as you imagine they would be. So, and I'll paste it in the chat as well.
I have to try sending money to that account and see if it's really me.
All right, so hold off on that for about 5 minutes. You get a thumbs up later in the show.
Oh dear, that's funny.
But I will say that's Macintosh Garden is my go-to. Whenever I'm looking for something. In fact, this little doohickey here, while it came with a lovely CD, this CD, believe it or not, has drivers for macOS 8.5. They do not work in macOS 9. It'll freeze up the entire system. But guess where I found macOS 9 drivers? Macintosh Garden had them.
Yeah.
Not even the archived version of their website or the current version, which is still online. All the links are dead. You can't download anything. So this measly 2 megabyte file that I've been searching like crazy for, I thought, I should just look on Macintosh Garden. And I should have went there first because it was right there. And so,
Well, now can I tell you the flip side to this?
yes,
You know, the negative aspect of Macintosh Garden. I had this stash of CDs that I've been holding on to for decades. I dig them up the other day and I have a look at them and I think, oh man, I've got some gold here. I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to sharing these. Everything was already on the Garden. Everything. I've been hanging on to these CDs for decades and they're already up there.
I've bought
Very
box
good.
software on eBay with the idea of archiving them. By the time it ships and comes to me, now there's a copy on the Garden, which is great. I'm glad it's there, but it's like, I want to do it.
Dear. Anyhow, it is a good
So-
thing to have, and it's very good to be that it's back. That's,
Yes.
That's the important thing.
Well, he said it's not completely back, but there
Not to
is a
me.
link.
Well, I mean,
that's
the website
because-
is up. Let's say that.
Yes, it's still up, but you have to actually go into a host file and kind of modify your Mac
I
host
didn't have to
file
do that.
to
I haven't
actually
had to do
get
that.
to it.
No, that was when it was all wonky. It's fixed. That
Oh,
that
is
part
it?
is
It's
fixed.
still kind
Oh,
of,
that's fixed? Okay.
kind of wonky. So if you want to
It's just
upload
slightly
files, well, there's still some wonky stuff going on. But if you set the stuff in the host file, you can suddenly upload larger files again. For instance,
Ah,
Well,
one of the
I,
minor quirks.
I've just downloaded 15 Butte Aussie Games Volume 3. Yes, that's right, folks. There is a 15 Butte Aussie Games Volume 1 and 2 as well.
there better be.
And it all worked. So there we go.
Yep. So I mean, we're the community's here to help you there, Christian. So I mean, that's why we wanted to have you on today because everybody. I think there's a lot of people out there, as you probably know, that really depend on the Macintosh Garden being there, and we're just happy that you love what you do there and love to keep this old stuff going. As he's taking a drink.
Well, I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for the community anyway. So, money or not.
We appreciate it. I mean,
Yes.
everything that if I don't really save it on my desktop because I don't need to. I know it's on the Garden. So it's a bad habit to get into, but it's one of those things where there's such a plethora of drivers and software and all these things, and when I'm in a bind, that's usually where I find it, and that's where I upload things to also. So I do the Macintosh stuff. I obviously put on Macintosh Garden. It's not Mac related. Sometimes it goes on archive.org, but I recently acquired an Apple Workgroup Server 7.51 CD that some person on eBay wanted over $100 for this disc. Somebody contacted me, sent me the image. I uploaded that. There was this Daystar digital reference guide that Adam gave me at VCF Midwest, and I put that on the on the Garden as well.
He's trying to look at it.
And so, yeah, I mean, anything cool I find, it goes there.
So Nick asked, how big is the archive and what would it take to mirror it?
We're closing in on publicly available files, close to 5 terabytes now. It's not a lot, I guess, and there's quite a lot more in the vault, stuff that's not ready to be shared yet, for instance. And if you'd like to mirror it, I guess, if you're in for a long haul, hit me up on Discord or IRC or something like that, and we can work something out.
Cool. Let me just boot up my Quadra 800 and.
So, if the audience has any questions for Christian here, go ahead and ask. I mean, that was actually a pretty good question there about how big it was, because I do notice that there are some mirrors on there already. You have a US mirror, which I actually use that one because that's faster than the main site, because it's going clear across the ocean there.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, when I'm downloading like images of 700 kilobyte discs, the speed doesn't seem to be much of an issue.
The main drawback, and I'm just so happy that we have access to the American mirror. The main drawback is that I would love to put up another mirror in the United States, but the costs alone isn't worth it.
Yeah.
There's too much traffic.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be rough. But
Yeah,
we do have Mr. Fahrenheit in the chat threatening to add a few more terabytes to it.
So here's another question for you. So Kate asked, do you get charged per gig?
Hosting or transfer?
Well, I live in Europe, so the only costs are related to electricity and the servers themselves. Bandwidth is included.
That's nice.
So there's that. Yeah. Transfer bandwidth limits would pretty much kill the whole endeavor.
Yeah, that would.
Well,
oof.
Yeah, I actually have a question to tag onto that, but how much do you transfer per day, in and out? Do you have an estimate of how much per day?
I haven't looked in a while, but each mirror that I have access to statistics. Hello, Dana. I get monthly reports, and it's well over 10 terabytes per mirror per month. Daily on the main server, it's quite a lot more. Yeah.
That's a good amount of data.
Yeah, that's a lot. Good thing you don't have a bandwidth cap then.
Now,
that would suck.
Now, you did mention there's stuff in the vault that cannot be released either it's not ready, or maybe there was a notice that these folks don't want that on there. Is there a list or anything that can be shared, or maybe in the future can be shared, to let people know like what has been taken down, what's not allowed to be uploaded, or anything like that?
Well, Electronic Arts titles, they've been buying up quite a lot of the smaller companies, so there's a huge library there. We're looking at reintroducing titles as time passes on. Sneak them in.
Okay. Yeah, I think I recall last time you were on, you were saying folks that represent companies will issue notices and things periodically. So I'm just curious.
Yeah, and it's mainly AAA titles of the time and children's games that get targeted the most, I guess.
So all the ones that Kate would want to download then, right?
Sorry, Kate.
Yes.
Keep your hard copies. That's what I'm going to say. There is, obviously there's a lot of IPs being purchased, whether it's old game companies or now defunct studios that are doing this and that and etc. But I guess you're sort of okay until somebody yells at you.
Yeah. Have I used the 68K MLA forums before? Yes and no. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff on there, but most of it is hidden behind the registration wall, and I don't like that. Therefore, I don't stick around there. It's the same on a few other sites out there today, that you have to register to get in to read text. No, thank you.
Kate has another question. Sorry to butt in there.
Yeah.
She's just asked, have you ever been contacted by Apple to remove sensitive information?
Not Apple personally, but representatives of Apple. One of them was probably the latest one. Multinational law firm. So they have an office a few miles from where I live. So take the stuff down, leave it at that. Don't want anything to do with them.
No, totally.
Well, yeah, because they've got the billions of dollars to just run you into the ground. So,
Yeah.
Well, also, I would imagine, if you comply with them, you don't want to make a fuss or cause unwanted attention and this and that. I guess there's that aspect of it.
There is a lot of Apple stuff up there that they don't seem to mind being available. That really old stuff, which I think is great. A lot of those old systems and stuff like that. I mean, they're there and they don't seem to mind.
well, didn't Apple make it? Didn't make it open source, but they just basically made it to where anything was it System 9 and below was like, yeah, you could do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say the name of the title, but I think the takedown notice was for something fairly modern.
Yeah, iLife and iWork.
Yeah, and I have a suspicion that for iLife it may have been due to the licensing of the audio files that maybe have been included in iMovie and iDVD, because there are some musical things and loops and stuff. I mean, that's a long shot, but maybe they just got trigger happy.
That sounds like a good theory to me, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of new registrations on the website as well. They can't access the iLife webpage, so they register instead. Try again. No go, I suppose. It is what it is.
There you go. But I mean, we're just glad it's back up and running. Or it's.
I guess
almost back.
For me, the most important thing is that, even if there are issues with it at the moment, they will be resolved once that domain name is in your control. But I think the important thing here was to let everyone know that this wasn't a failure of, I forgot to do a backup or, something along those lines. I mean, this was essentially someone extorting you. It was a pretty horrible behavior, and not something that we can, you can really turn around and say that, that was like, it was negligent to let Macintosh Garden go down or something like that. I mean, especially when this person gave a verbal agreement to hand it over for nothing and then turned around some years later saying, I want $3,000. It's pretty horrendous.
It's quite a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
It's a safe bet to say that guy will never, ever have access to it again, correct?
Not as long as Christian or either of us are alive.
And he's one of ours, this guy, too. He lives in Tasmania.
Oh, boy. Well. So, I know that a lot of people in the chat know about Macintosh Garden. I just want to say there's a little bit about the alpha site that Christian's been working on. I know you showed it off before, but if you guys will allow me, I'll share my screen really quick, because I always think this is neat, if Christian does not have any objections.
Are you talking about the little promo that you're going to do?
No.
Oh, okay.
This is
go ahead.
something different. So this is the alpha site that he has here, and what's really cool about this is it's zippy quick on some older machines. Now, not everything is here at the moment, obviously. It's an alpha. What do you expect? But the layout is cool. I love that everything sort of has, a Web 1.0 type look to it. I really enjoy that. I really think that's cool. But, the idea...
table.
The idea of logging onto this from a vintage machine, an appropriate machine, and getting your content right from here, because we all know if you try with IE 4.5 or IE5 or ClassZilla or whatever you're using on a vintage Mac, and you go to Macintosh Garden, it's going to load up a little slow because it's an old web browser reading fairly modern code, relatively speaking. But this is really neat, and I know there's a lot of work that's being going into this, but I just wanted to share it because I think it's cool.
Well, here's another question. Oh, go ahead, Christian.
If you go into site settings in the bottom left there,
yep,
and you have, for instance, website theme. You could pull down the menu there and set it to the modern one won't work. Pick another.
Set it to not that one.
I think I broke it. Let's try again. You can see what I was looking at before. Hold on. Let's do this properly this time. So we clicked.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to go here. Here. Live debugging. Well, my browser's stuffed, but that's okay.
Yeah,
there we go.
You definitely broke it. Yeah.
So
You'll never be able to see it again.
So here's the text theme.
That's cool.
The one I've been working on the most, apart from the main theme, and this is the one that your browser will default to if you're using, for instance, Lynx or Wannabe or any other of the text browsers, and it will be insanely fast.
So, in other words, Sean's frog, whatever he does,
frog find
will go to that then if he's looking for it, because he's doing that on like what, Apple IIs and stuff like that.
I'm
No,
sure
that's-
it'll work on anything.
It will do the text theme, but this is what the text browser will default to.
Now, I know I've asked you this before, Christian, but I have a piece of paper and I'm going to write it down this time.
Yeah.
What is the best web browser to use under System 6?
System 6.
Yeah.
You're asking me that.
Yeah.
Let me Google that for you.
I think at that point, I think you're just going to end up using a Telnet client. There really isn't any other point to doing anything on System 6 on the internet.
Oh, nonsense.
Nonsense.
I
Bruce
reject
has a
your answer.
radius rocket to use. Come on. He's good to go.
Yeah. My Macintosh 2 CI running with the 68040 CPU in System 6, it flies. And I want to get on the web with it.
Yeah, we're getting questions about which is better, the suppository or the garden. Obviously, we're all fans of Macintosh Garden here. And for those of you who are unaware of the shenanigans that have gone on there previously, essentially, they scraped partially, without all the juicy bits and important bits of data, information from Macintosh Garden to their own site, put up a donation wall, paywall, and all that garbage, and limit you and do all this stupid stuff.
And
so
Angel,
we're not fans.
Just for future reference, Angel, we do not mention that name here.
That's a bannable offense.
That's a bad word.
Bad word.
I used it before I met you guys. I used
And boy, did we give Bruce a talking to.
Oh, gave me a lot of grief about it, and because I didn't know any of this history. But of course, even by that stage, I was someone who was already extremely frustrated by the whole. Oh, you need to wait before you can download your next download and that sort of thing. Really, really frustrating stuff. And then obviously, if you make a donation, this limitation will be removed. To then move across to Macintosh Garden, where it's just you just download what you want. I was like, oh, hooray! Where have you been all my life?
Yeah, because anybody who's ever experienced a site like that, where it's like you have to wait 5 minutes now, you know that the download that you just downloaded, because of the metadata or the description isn't right or whatever, is not the one you actually need. You need like the other one or the third one or the fourth one. So you go back and you're like looking at your clock. You're like, all right, come on.
Yeah,
it's the right
counting
one.
down.
Where on
Refresh.
Macintosh
10
Garden,
seconds,
it's like,
refresh.
oh, there's 5 different versions of this. Let me
down
just
on
grab
5.
all of them. Yeah, it's just...
Yeah, I've done that many times before, I think, where I've grabbed all of them and then I try, okay, which one works?
Well, that's the thing, especially with older Macs, is this 68K compatible? Is this PowerPC compatible? Does this work with System 7? Does this work with System 6? You got to play around a little bit sometimes. And often, the box in the documentation is long gone. So unless someone has been very kind to replicate some of the system requirements on the Macintosh Garden page or wherever you're downloading it from, you sort of have to, take a stab in the dark there and take a guess.
Yeah, and to address that, with the new site, there's going down a lot of work into improving the information bits. For instance, system requirements is one thing. And there's also a new user hardware compatibility database where, for instance, if you pull up a page with Quake or Doom or something, you can, if it runs on your machine, add your machine to the database. So you don't just have the information from what's on the box or the manual, but you also have what other users are running it on. So you can see if the game will run on your system. Like the box says System 7, but it runs fine in 9.2, and someone's added that information. Super nice.
Yeah, it's always good to have that information. So that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and each file will be able to be tagged as well. So you can have files represented on the page, and it will say exactly what the file contains, if it's something special or something like that. And if it's a demo disk compilation, we also have support for disk catalogs. So if those are indexed, added to the database, they can be looked at as well. So it's like having disk tracker, but on the website itself. You can look at it, you can search it.
Well, that's great.
If you're after something special.
Yeah, because some of those compilations, they're like dozens of floppies or CDs sometimes. So,
Yeah.
Now I just logged on into it, and there is a feature on here where you can actually have a profile on here. And I just noticed I've been on for 3 years and 45 weeks.
All right, now you got to make me check mine. Hold on.
Yeah. So I joined on December 15th, 2017.
So you've been lucky to log on before your account was tagged as inactive.
I joined in August of 2009. I've been there for 12 years. How about that?
Wow.
Now we're going to be like, who's got the longest user account?
It won't be me. You guys know how long I've been there.
This way. At least somebody's doing backups and actually can keep track of how long somebody's had an account for the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool historical data to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first upload to the Garden was 2017 when I uploaded SideQuest utilities.
And there's guest book entries. I mean, you could actually type in guest book entries and stuff. So I mean, it's pretty neat it's a pretty neat site, and I like it.
Yeah, a lot of the social bits are still being worked on, so it won't work 100% just yet. But it's being added in. It's not the highest on the priority list right now, so whenever I get the time, I work on it.
But what's great, if you support Macintosh Garden on Patreon, you do get a little newsletter periodically that does tell you all the updates that are going on to the site, so it makes you feel all special.
Yep. All
Okay.
right.
So
do we have anything else to talk about before we move on, or you got anything else?
Is there anything Christian is looking for that is extremely hard to find software-wise that maybe somebody in the chat or watching this video in the future may be able to find?
Yeah.
Well, if it's not on the Garden, I'd like to have it.
Okay, that's nothing in particular.
I've got my little stash here. I've got Strata Studio Pro, got Real Basic 4.5.
Hold them up slowly. I'll search.
I've got drivers for one of those 3D Power 3D drivers there. Yeah,
Ooh, I want that.
Yep, you can have it.
Gimme.
Code Warrior. Anyone see anything they like? Just let me know. I got System 8 installed.
Just put the whole thing in the mail. That's
Okay. One word. Wired.
Dear. All right.
Upload it to my server.
I definitely think we need to move on.
Yeah, the only last thing I would just want to say is if you're going to upload something to the Garden, make sure you understand how resource forks work and how to properly archive disks. Otherwise, you're going to waste everyone's time.
Yes. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic here, and it shouldn't be that long on this one. I mean, actually, we spent an hour on this. So, yeah. All right, guys. So finally, iOS 15's been here for a little while, but just like the last, I think, 3 or 4 days, most all of us have just now upgraded to iOS 15.
You guys are lazy.
No, we waited to the 0.1 update. So
We also didn't buy a brand new phone with it loaded.
exactly,
Well, that's the problem. Yeah, I had no choice in the matter.
exactly.
So I accidentally picked up my old phone today. I'm like, why is this so slow? Oh,
the questions I have are, I mean, what do you like about it? What do you hate about it? And I'll go first because one of the things that really ticked me off was when I updated it. I did it right before I went to bed. I was like, okay. And I have do not disturb set on my phone for when I go to sleep at night. Now they changed that to what they call focus. It's no longer, it's kind of do not disturb is embedded into the focus thing, but they took away all my settings that I had on iOS 14. So all of a sudden in the middle of the night, Jay and Dana are just texting me away because that was one of the text threads I do not have a do not disturb on.
well, it's Jay and Dana's fault, obviously.
Oh, exactly.
That's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah. But all of a sudden my wife's like, who is texting you? I'm like, nobody should be texting. I shouldn't be getting anything. So I look over there, and of course it's Jay and Dana just chatting up about 2 a.m, and I'm like,
Yeah, they chat in my time zone.
Despicable duo, though.
So what happened was, like I said, they wiped the settings I had out, so I had to go back in there the next day, and I looked at how the settings were and stuff. Like, oh, I have to reset my time in again to where it says do not disturb. So that was my little frustrating thing. It didn't transfer over settings.
I'll tell you why I never, ever do an iOS update at night. And that is because a few years ago, they had a bug, and I forget what version it was, but it was probably 2017, 2018 or so, where if you would update to iOS, you got like the hello screen, and you had to just like click through some I agrees or whatever to get through to finish the setup.
Yep.
And the caveat to that is your alarm didn't work. So I would set the phone to restart, and I'd wake up at like 10 a.m. and I missed like getting ready for work and all this stuff. And I'm like, what happened? And it was because, I depend on the phone for the alarm, and it did the iOS update, and it, was in this state where it didn't want to do the alarm. And they got a lot of flack for that, and then they fixed it. I think it happened one more time, but I think they hopefully will learn their lesson this time. But that's why I never update something vital like that, like an iPhone overnight. I usually do it like while I'm paying attention to it, I'm watching TV or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's typically when I do it, because I only do it when it's plugged into the computer. And the computer is not in my bedroom, so if I'm at the computer, then I am awake and I am monitoring.
Yeah. So, I mean, anybody have any else that they like about 15?
I mean, run fine for me. I didn't run into the problems you did, Greg. I mean, I updated. I have it on my 10R, which I am finally 6 months later using my 10R again.
Yay!
Yes. So I have it on there, and I haven't had any issues. I didn't have any problems with any of my alarms or my do not disturb, or it all transferred over. And I also have it on my 6S Plus. And aside from the battery life on that being substandard now, not that it was the best, but it's even worse now. I don't really have any complaints.
So who likes the address bar on the browser being on the bottom?
You could change it.
Safari, so I couldn't care less.
I mean, it came as a surprise to me, but to be honest, it didn't make a whole lot of difference. I'm just looking at it thinking, what the hell?
We all heard
He
that.
actually cursed when he found out.
But there is one thing I really do like about it. I love the text recognition and translation in the camera. That's a really, really nifty little feature. I mean, it even recognized my handwriting on my shopping list, so that was cool.
It's like
How does that work?
I have not played with that yet.
Text recognition on the camera?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
So when
it's only on certain models that have a fast enough whatever the heck.
It might be the 12 and up.
I think it's like the 11 or something.
Well, he's got the XR, so it
Well,
should...
I know. I'm just saying, like, I think it's like the 11 and up.
I'm going to
gotcha.
just see if it works on some text that I've got
But
here.
I do want to just mention the Safari thing real quick because there is a way for you to change it. So I'm going to give you guys
Oh
a
no,
tip.
it does work on the 10R.
Oh, there you go.
I just took a picture of a bottle on my desk, and I just tapped on a word, and it actually highlighted it like a text message.
Yep, that's right.
There you go. So
That's pretty cool.
if I have my phone here, I'm on Macintosh Garden. I'm using Safari. If I
That's
tap
fine.
the double A's here, it will give me some options, and one of the options is where is it? I just saw it. There it is. Sorry, I tapped the wrong thing. Now I'm in the wrong mode. Hold on.
Patrick said you could change it through settings.
Yeah, you go to show top address bar, and there you go. Now the address bar is on the top. Now I will say, I do like it at the bottom because that's where I normally type with the keyboard. However, I had to do one of those, like, they mischarged my internet bill, so I had to, like, complain to them and do a live chat thing with them. And the address bar is at the bottom. So I'm texting them, and the address bar is getting in the way. And so, you can move it up if you need to.
Too bright.
Okay.
I just translated some text here, and it says solid state drive, fixed hard disk, which is an accurate translation of what I just photographed.
And Bruce grew a tail.
And I grew a tail.
I saw
happens
somebody
from time to
sharing
time.
screenshots where it was recognizing like Chinese or Japanese
Yep.
words. And
Yeah,
then
Well, I
translate-
just
saw
did
that
that
too.
then. I just did that then. I
Well,
basically
you know
took a
what's
photo of some
Fancy.
Chinese text.
Oh, okay.
Well, here's something else I noticed today on this when I was in the text mode or to send a text. And if you click in there and you hold, you could scan text to send in a text message,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Well, I don't suppose that works on a 6S because it's not showing up on mine.
No,
Yeah,
if you basically press in where it says message at and hold it, it'll come up and it'll say scan text if you don't have anything to paste. And now if you have something to paste, it'll say paste or scan text.
All right. So what do I do? Go to a photo.
It might not be on.
No,
if you go to the iOS site, it will tell you all the things that won't work
All
on
right,
your old thing.
just go to our Mac Yak chat and you basically just hold and press inside the text box and it'll come up like you're going to paste something. It'll come up and say scan text.
Cool.
Nope.
I noticed that today when I was getting ready to paste something. I was like, whoa, what is this?
Nope. I get reply, copy, translate, and more.
All right, so it might not work on your phone.
It
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
lets me
yeah.
forward or trash it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they did just
Wah,
release
wah.
the share play stuff, which was something that was sort of a late ad, and that basically lets you do like a FaceTime while you watch a movie and stuff like that. Hi, kitty. So Bruce could show you videos of his cat while we're all texting each other or whatever the heck. I don't know how it works.
One of the things that
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to mention that one of the things that I've always found very frustrating in an update is when you lose something, not necessarily gaining something. And this is something that happened on my iPhone 7 is after one of the updates, the magnifier changed its functionality. So one of the things the magnifier has always done, for those who aren't aware of the magnifier feature, sort of you've got this option where you can go zoom into things. And when you take a photo, what it does is it does a similar thing to the way they do astrophotography. It kind of takes a series of frames and it kind of averages them together. And you end up getting a much higher level of detail than you would get from just taking a photo. And I mean, you can demonstrate that. I had to demonstrate that to Jay the Naysayer quite recently when I said that the magnifier actually takes sharper photos than the normal camera does.
his name is
And
Nay.
and when one of the updates to iOS some time ago, that sort of sharpening feature, that averaging and sharpening feature went. So the magnifier still worked, but the photos that I was getting from it were far inferior. And then when I got a newer phone, it came back again. So obviously they decided that was too much processing power for that phone or something along those lines, even though it was there in previous versions. So that's the thing that always frightens me the most about doing an update is losing something. I've got an iPhone 12, which is still quite current, so I'm probably safe for now. But it is one of the things that makes me wary of updating.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you see the keynote or you see a news article about the feature and you're like, oh, that's going to be cool. And then you see like the page for iOS and there's a little asterisk only for X models and you're like, nah, it's not like.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, My phone is new. It's a 13 Pro, but I have noticed some weird quirks, and I don't know if it's just the phone or the OS or whatever, but like I still get, and I got this on my old device, once in a while I'll launch the camera and I just get black. Like it doesn't work if I swap the camera around. I quit the app, it still does it. I got to hard boot the phone, and then it comes back.
That sounds like maybe a hardware problem. Maybe
that's something that has plagued a few of my phones, not all of them, but the 8 did it once in a while. Actually had that replaced in the Apple Store, and then whatever.
Well, I had a problem with my 8 when the camera would take a picture. Everything was green. I mean, it was just
nice.
Yeah. So I had them. I went to the Apple Store. They replaced the camera. It was working fine when I left the store, and about an hour after I left the store, which meant I was almost back home,
Of course.
started doing it again.
Of course.
And so I went back again and told him this time, I said, look, you already replaced the camera, so it's not the camera. It's got to be something on the logic board. I said, just replace the phone. I said, I'm not going to go through this, you replacing one little piece at a time.
I mean, I'll keep an eye on it. I'm going to just chalk it up to brand new OS and a brand new device. And if it doesn't sort itself out, I have the warranty on it, so I can.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm really frustrated with this phone, because I've had the 8 since 2017, so I was very used to it. When I'm in the car and I'm driving somewhere, I will place my phone upside down so the charging port is facing up, so I don't have the cable bent in the cup holder or wherever I put my phone. So right now, if I do that, here's a map. If you do this way, you'll move the map, etc. If you do it upside down, it don't do it no more. And from what we gathered, it's having to do with the notch. For whatever reason, the notch devices or whatever, iOS 15 or maybe it was even 14, it no likey. It don't do. So I can't have the charging cable sticking up. And I just think that's stupid.
Stupid.
So I'm going to write a complaint to Mr. Cook, and he's not going to respond. But
Nope.
I'll warm up the image writer, print out a letter, and we'll see him laugh when he gets it.
Steve Jobs would probably respond to you, say it's a feature.
Yeah, Steve will respond to it sooner than Cook will.
But he'll say it's a feature.
I'm holding it wrong.
You're holding it wrong.
Either Tim or what is it? Craig Ferengi. Someone like that.
Ferengi. Yeah, maybe the Ferengis will respond to it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Any other things on this topic before we move on to our next one?
Has a 15
I think we're good to go.
Yep. All right, so I'm going to throw it over to Bruce now to talk about what's coming up next here.
Okay, I will talk about this. It's obviously, in actual fact, in this particular group of people, there are 3 of us in this organizational committee, but I just wanted to talk about the Tinker Different launch. And so if anyone well, actually, I'll tell you what, probably the easiest thing to try and explain the old Tinker Different is we'll very quickly put in our promo video, and then I'll talk about it afterwards. So without any further ado, I'm about to press the button and begin.
Hello there. A few months ago, a group of geeks, nerds, and tinkerers got together with a singular mission:
to create an online community that we would like to be a part of.
A place where we could share our passion, our projects, and our thoughts.
A place to teach and to learn. A place that's run democratically.
That's open and transparent and free from bullying and condemnation.
A place with reliable hosting and secure backup strategy for sharing and preserving important information.
We created Tinker Different. Created by nerds for nerds.
And on the 31st of October 2021, we invite you to join us for our official launch.
Come and be part of a new and technologically diverse community.
We don't just tinker,
we tinker different.
Come and be a part of a new and technologically...
I'm glad you put his flub in and not mine.
Yes. I wasn't even sure I was going to put any flubs in, but then as I was just cutting it together, I just saw that flub, and I loved his response to it. So, I just thought I'd tack that on to the end there. So, so basically, we're talking about an online community or a forum that we have put together, a group of people. It started with essentially there were about, I think, 12 or 13 of us to start off with. We all started thinking about what we wanted to do, putting our kind of a wish list together, talking about how we want it to all... this is an interesting one.
Mind out of the toilet, Joe.
Joe has mentioned this, tickle different. Someone else mentioned this to me. It's something worth mentioning that we don't use the word tinkle in the way that others use the word tinkle in Australia. So I had to have someone explain to me what they were talking about when they said tinkle different. And then I found out it was something that apparently children say. So anyhow, so we like to consider ourselves tinkerers. So in other words, and it doesn't have to be specific to anything. It could be just you've got a toaster and you want to know how it works inside. There's sorts of people that have that inquisitive nature about themselves, the ones that like to know how things work. And so we put this with this forum together. It's not something that has just been thrown together. This is something that has been going through months of planning and strategies, and we're wanting to make sure that we do this properly. And we've had it running in beta mode for a few weeks now, and we have had a lot of people signing up, and we've actually had a lot of people who are not beta testers signing up who will all get their approval sent through on launch day. There is some amazing stuff there. You don't actually have to be a member to go and look and read the stuff. There's just some really, really interesting stuff going on there in terms of some of the new projects that people are putting together, and this incredible community spirit of people sharing their creations. And yeah, it's fantastic. And as you saw from that promo, we even got Kevin Costner on board. I don't know how we managed that. But,
he's a big Mac fan.
So
a big Mac fan or a Big Mac fan?
He also loves Macintosh Garden.
So anyhow, the official launch is on October 31st, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what time zone? Well, it's actually, we're launching it on October 31st when the sun rises on the first, sort of the first place in the world that gets to see the new day. So we're actually releasing. We're going live New Zealand time. So at midnight in New Zealand, sort of midnight, sort of on October 31st, we'll be going live. And so for people who are actually up at night on the 30th, it'll actually go live there in the Northern Hemisphere. So, and then we will be having a live Q&A, which I probably should just post a link to that, shouldn't I? That would be something that I maybe should have had queued up if I was a prepared person.
So the Q&A is an interesting thing. Basically, we'll be answering questions. The group, a handful of us that were part of the team behind launching it. And that's, I think, a great way for you to meet some of us, for you to ask sort of, what makes this a great place to hang out, etc. I am very excited to be a part of that and see the response that we get. I mean, this, like Bruce said, this has been something that I've been working on for a long time. If you don't like the name or the logo, you could blame me, but everyone voted for it, so there you go. But I think that the premise of the site is very exciting, and I'm very, very much looking forward to it launching, and we could get sort of a lot of hands and eyes on this thing.
Yep. And we've got a few of the people in the chat here who have already been given sort of, given access to try it out, and I hope they have been doing that. We've been seeing, sort of a growing number of users, and we've been seeing, sort of the number of online users at any given time is going up as well. So yeah, I mean, come and be a part of it. Come and join in the Q&A if you want to ask any questions about it. But yeah, I mean, try and, I just say to everyone, jump on board, sign up when we launch, and enjoy. We're doing this for everyone, and we want everyone to be part of it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're brand new to vintage electronics, if you're into Apples, Amigas, Ataris, whatever you are, if you're a novice or an expert, this is not going to be something where you have to, be a soldering wizard or someone on Kai Robinson's level of tearing apart old logic boards to join. This is open for everybody. Just go on the site now if you want to pre-register. you will have to wait until the site launches to be, looked at and approved, etc.
I know I've already asked for a TI 99 section, so
denied.
I mean, just to give you a bit of an idea, I mean, this is just a really, real quick summary. But I mean, we've got someone on there who is doing a reverse engineer on a Macintosh LC board. That one is getting down to the final stages. Kai is currently working on the little memory board for the Macintosh Classic. I've been working with Kai on that, so sort of a reloaded of those. We've got 512K VRAM sims for the LC range. We've got recreations of those. We've got things like RAM for the 2FX, which of course they're difficult to find. And then the other thing is this incredible wealth of knowledge. I mean, you can just jump on there and you can ask a question. And you've got all these amazing people that can just sort of knock out answers straight away, point you in the direction of where you might be able to find things that are hard to find. It's really, really useful stuff. And as Steve said, it's not all for the mega tech people. I mean, this is just for people who enjoy the old the old vintage computer hobby. And it's not just Macs, just vintage computers. And I think even other things we've got stuff there on recreations of 3D models and stuff like so people who are making new parts in 3D models of new parts for old computers and stuff about cars and it's very diverse.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting to get this launched.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad to be there at the beginning of it. So I was so happy when you guys invited the MacYak crew and a few others outside to come beta test.
Yeah. No, we were going to get you guys on for sure.
You're not allowed not to be on.
We knew we'd get honest appraisal from you guys.
I got a truck. Somebody likes me.
Now, Steve, were you going to share your screen just to bring it up on there, or is
if you'd like. I don't know if there's anything sensitive.
You don't have to. I just thought you might want to.
If you want.
Yeah, let me do the. Let me go to the right window and go to allow, and maybe hopefully this will work. So yeah, there's a splash screen here that says begin new adventure. If you're not signed in, you should register. There you go. And so there you go. So go to tinkerdifferent.com. Click the register button. Once the site launches, you'll actually get access to it. But there you go.
And you just want to scroll down just so that people can see.
Oh, sure.
Just quickly, just see some of the things we've got in there. Obviously, vintage Apple we've got there. We've got vintage Atari. We've got vintage Commodore, vintage Acorn, vintage Sinclair, workstations. Obviously,
whole section for the garden
dedicated to the garden.
That's how seriously we take the garden around here.
Yeah, and then the lab, which is for all the people that are actually building their own projects and stuff like that.
Those crazy folks.
Yep. And the soapbox, where we all just talk crap to each other. And
I haven't looked at that yet.
I'm gonna have to go look at the soapbox. Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah, so that's it.
Exciting.
All right, I think we did that to death.
Yeah, I think hey, it's a good thing to have that. And like Kai said in your promo video, there, it's backed up.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's the key of all this stuff. If you're going to put a community out there to have all this stuff, and people show off what they know and share their knowledge, you want to make sure that is going to be worth their time to post and it's going to be archived properly.
Yes.
And we hope that this will be stuff that people will refer to next generation. You know what I mean? That this information will be stored on there, and it'll be there for such a long time that sort of people will visit this in decades to come. Let's hope, maybe.
Look at that post from 2021 when Steve was still not crazy. That's he actually knew what he was talking about then.
The questions will be, what's with the beards and all those middle-aged men back then?
That was a style at the time.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on here. Got a few more things to do before we end the show tonight. One of the things I'm going to skip that one time. We'll come to that next week because I think I don't have any.
We have somebody that'll be joining us who could talk about that. So.
Yes, there we go. So
I added that the last second just to confuse everyone.
Yeah. That's why I was
Well
looking at
done,
it, like,
old chap. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know anything about it. So yes, I think our guest next week should be a good one to have for that. So I think that's going to be.
Shall we announce the guest?
We can if you want to. Go ahead there, Steve.
Our good friend Joe of Joe's Computer Museum will be making a guest appearance on Mac Yak, and I don't know why I'm shouting at the microphone over there. The camera's over here. There you go.
It's like you're selling newspapers in the 40s.
Extra. Yeah, there you go. But Joe has graciously admitted that he needs to be on the show, and he's as crazy as we are. So
yes,
he has a fancy new MacBook Pro.
Fortune.
Yes, we're paying for his MacBook Pro. That's essentially the deal that we worked out. The raw deal, but he's famous, and that's what has to happen. So there you go.
Yeah.
So get your questions ready for Joe.
Yeah.
Next week.
All right. So the next thing we got tonight is our What Were They Smoking? And this is actually a submission from Kai, because I saw it in the chat there, or in the Discord, but I just posted the link to it there. This is for a new original Apple Power Mac G. You might want to buy this, Steve, because you like to collect these.
Hold on. I'm getting there.
A new original Apple Power Mac G4 3.6 volt lithium battery.
Oh, it's the battery. What the hell?
For 50 pounds.
Yep.
And that hopefully that gives you 50 batteries.
But you know what?
So,
don't undervalue same day dispatch.
I mean, scroll down a little bit.
Dispatch,
where you can see their building.
They can't even spell dispatch, right? Or is that the British way of spelling it?
That's the
Keep
English
going.
way of spelling it. Yeah.
Scroll down until you see their building. Okay. Is it me, or does somebody take a picture of a building and then put the letters on it with Photoshop and a drop shadow?
It looks that way, but it.
I got to check that out. I'm pretty good at spotting.
Enhance. No, that looks okay to me.
Yeah, the shadows actually matching.
Look at that.
Look at the 8.
Well, that looks like it's been spray painted on or something.
I'll bet you that's a fake building. Or fake.
This little sign looks legit. I don't know. The image is so pixelated; it's hard to really.
Yeah, it's so low res.
Somebody find that address on Google Maps and zoom in and see if.
Yeah, but either way, maybe they were sniffing the spray paint here of that text on the building. That's why they think. 50
I don't know.
pounds.
I think they were smoking the battery acid that's probably going to be coming out of that battery if it's an original battery.
That's the thing. Like, you sort of have. If there was another photo that had the date or whatever, it would be more of an understandable. Are they saying it's a new battery?
A new
that's
original
the type for the machine, or is this? No, this is a new one. It's original from the old machine. We just ripped it out and think it's valuable.
This just reminds anyone here who's ever seen the movie. This is Spinal Tap. They're going through and they're explaining their history, and they said, so we created our band and it was called the Originals. Then we found out there was another band called the Originals, so we called ourselves the New Originals.
I'm so disappointed it doesn't post to the US, so I can't purchase this. But
that is disappointing.
Oh well.
I always wanted to spend
though,
because $35-$40 for a battery I don't need.
Well, what do they charge for shipping within England, or is it free shipping? Because I don't see. It says varies for delivery. I don't.
Well, it's next day. It's same day dispatch, so you're going to pay out the butt for it, I'm sure.
Probably. So you.
I can get it delivered for 13 pounds.
Oh.
So you're looking at probably 70 pounds total for you to buy it. Then close to.
Yeah, and don't forget the import taxes.
Yeah.
That's a bargain at twice the price.
So the same seller is also selling 30 angle 30 pin SIM sockets for only 14 pounds. So hey, there's not everything is terrible on their store. I think they just got a little bit of amnesia when it comes to batteries.
It's just trying to create the illusion that it's something rare.
Don't worry.
Goldman Where's the polka dots behind it?
Yeah, Goldman will be selling some, polka dotty batteries at some point, I'm sure. Rare vintage batteries.
But
then
Steve,
I'll be
don't-
rich because I have a bag.
because
don't you have a collection of them? You should put them on eBay.
Yeah,
man.
I'll just hold up a used bag of batteries, and that's how I'll buy my new MacBook Pro. There you go. That's
original. These were originally in. They were spit on by Steve Jobs
from West
Original
Germany. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, original old batteries. There you go.
if he sells it, that's good to know because I've got a handful of those downstairs.
All right, guys. We have one EAP.
We have
Actually,
two.
We have two. Okay, there was another one put in there just on
I
the
did.
last minute. Okay.
No, it was there for a while. I just put my name in.
Sean, check the address is real.
Is it?
Sean
Okay.
zoomed in. He is our super sleuth on the Google Maps.
Super sleuth. Thank you, Sean.
Alrighty. So we're going to go to our Eep Quack game.
All right.
Basically, Eep if you have, Quack if you haven't. That's pretty much it. So the first one comes from Retro Techie. Have you ever had any buyer's remorse after buying an Apple product? Eep.
Quack.
Eep.
And mine is the MacBook Pro
Quack.
2017.
I have to
Because
say, let me think about this.
because of the ports and no MagSafe and everything, and now that they have the new MacBook Pros, I'm really having remorse now.
That's
Bruce
not our
probably-
fault.
You
Bruce
talking
probably
about
knows what
remorse?
mine was.
What, Mike?
I
You don't
bought,
get
a,
the
Mac,
newspaper.
I bought a Macintosh 2.
You bought a brand new Macintosh too?
No, not a brand new one. It doesn't say anything about being new. It just says, have you ever had buyer's remorse
Yeah.
after buying an Apple product?
Mhm.
Oh.
I bought a Macintosh 2 and realized what a turd it was.
I can't honestly say. I mean, I haven't bought that, many like new things.
Yeah,
or
that's what I'm
near new.
thinking. Yeah,
I've never bought
So-
anything new.
I bought one new, and I don't have remorse because it lasted me almost 10 years. So
The only thing that comes to mind for me is I bought a brand new MacBook Pro 2008, and the thing ran so damn hot I couldn't hold it. I couldn't use it on the couch. And then you try to install Windows, and it ran even hotter. I mean, it was like hovering around 100 degrees Celsius, and I could not get it to go any lower.
that's a feature.
Yeah, they're kind of known for that.
It was terrible. I ended up selling it within the first year, and I've never done that with any other Apple system or device that I bought.
What's model was that again?
2008 MacBook Pro.
Is it the unibody or the non-unibody?
No, the non-unibody.
Okay, yeah, that's what I expected. I've
It's
heard
the old-
similar.
It's the old Core 2 Duo. They all my 17-inch unibody 2009 runs so hot you can't put it on your lap. You'll end up giving your crotch 3rd-degree burns.
Sounds like a fun time. Yeah,
That's why they don't call them laptops anymore. They're called notebooks.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I had upgraded from a 3400, and it, I could use it on the couch. It was like heavy as a brick, but you can use it anywhere.
So I'll read the next one.
Yeah,
It's
I was
mine.
going to say, Steve, you can go ahead.
So, have you ever bought a new Apple product only for you to return it because it was faulty? So you had to exchange it, and it was only like a few days old or something like that.
Quack. Quack, because I've never bought a new Apple product.
Quake.
This was an experience for me. It was with my phone. It was an iPhone 3G. Bought it brand new because you had to at the time. There was no used phones. It was a new product. And was saving up for it. So excited. I got home and realized the accelerometer didn't work. So I couldn't do any of the tilting. And, at first I thought, oh, maybe it's just Safari is, broken or something. No, I downloaded one of those puzzle games with the ball and the wooden, fake thing. And you tilt it and everything. And yeah, no worky. So I learned then that if you get a brand new Apple product and, you return it within the next few days, they'll actually give you a refurb one. They will not give you a new one. If they have a refurb one available, they did, even though it was a brand new product, they gave me a refurbished one. And I remember saying, but I bought this new, and they're like, well, it's still under the warranty. If you have any problems, blah, 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 blah. But I guess it was like, it was in a special Genius Bar box. Like it's the one
because
there.
if it's refurbished, that means something went wrong with it the first time somebody bought it.
I know.
Well, Steve, the reason why I haven't said Eep or Quack on this yet is because I would say quack for, but if I change it around just a little bit, I actually bought something that it was a MacBook Air, and about a week.
Here's your first problem.
Well, no. It was about a week after I bought it. That's when Apple changed their lineup on it. Instead of having 4 gigabytes, they said 8 gigabytes for the same price I bought the 4 gigabyte for. So I called the Apple store back and said, "Hey, I just bought this thing, and I want to. Now all of a sudden you guys are selling the 8 gigabyte model for the same price I just bought this 4 gigabyte model for. What can I do?" And they're like, "Bring it on back. We'll exchange it for you." And they did. They gave me a brand new one. Not a refurbished one, but they gave me a brand new one.
Yeah, I'm sure they have since adjusted their policies due to people complaining.
No. It's actually an Apple policy. You have 2 weeks if you want to exchange it.
That 14-day policy is fairly new. It was not always the case. I mean, fairly new. I'm talking a couple of years, not months.
Yeah.
But
well, this was back in 2015, I believe, is when I did this. But yeah, I was actually happy that they did it because I was going to be pissed if I got stuck with a 4 gigabyte model that just the price of the 8 gigabyte model went down to that price, and I was like, really?
Yeah, I mean the iPhone used to be a 30-day return policy, and then they made it 14 days. I remember that, and then it was one of these things where I think they just did a blanket, 14-day policy or whatever. But I know people who have reviewed newer stuff for their YouTube channels and such that will buy something new and return it to Apple because their return policy is pretty darn good. I mean, I wouldn't personally do that, but it used to be not the case, like you said. I used to know a friend, and I forget if this was a personal friend or they had a friend that worked at the Apple store, but the story goes they bought a PowerBook, full price, decked out, the week before new PowerBooks came out. He worked at the Apple store. He had no idea that the new models were coming out. And so whenever our customer complained, I got this and a new one came out, since their return policy wasn't the best back in the day, he would have a copy of the receipt and show them and say, hey, look, I didn't even know a new one was coming out. Here's when I purchased it, etc. So,
yeah,
I mean, things have obviously changed a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you do your research. You look at the Mac Rumors Buyer's Guide and other sites before you buy anything, because you don't want to buy something and have them replace it the next week.
Well, yeah, but in my case, it was basically there was no rumors about this. They just decided to, we're going to make the price now for the 8 gigabyte model and get rid of the 4 gigabyte completely. It was
I'm glad they honored that, because that's a pretty crummy thing to do, especially if you just bought it,
Yeah, I was so happy. I just went up there. I just took it boxed back up and everything. They made sure everything was there. They gave me a brand new one, still wrapped in the plastic, and I was. So, all right. So that's all the Eat Quacks we have tonight. So I guess we're almost done for this evening. First off, before we go, anybody's got anything going on the next week or so?
It's like a drinking game.
Take it different.
Bruce, what do you got going on?
Take it different.
There we go. Because that is actually this weekend going live. So
yeah, that's right. So we've got the live Q&A. I am planning to. Oh wow, something weird happened then. I am planning to do a live stream on the weekend as well. But the main focus this weekend will be on launching Tinker Different and getting everyone on board.
Yay! Right. How about you, Mike?
Me? I'm just going to stream my usual Saturday stream.
Yay!
Probably not going to be anything Mac related, unfortunately.
But you got something working, so.
Yeah. All right, Steve, how about you?
I was just saying that I gave something Mike that I thought was broken, and he might have got it working, so. Yay!
Ooh, good.
Exciting. I bought this adapter dealie for my QuickTake 200 to read the 5-volt smart media cards. Actually says it here. Oh, thank you very much, Justin, for the shout out and plug. Shameless plug. Thank you, Justin. But yeah, so I got this special card reader thing for this camera, and I'm doing a little video about that. Maybe I'll stream about it or something. But I am working on a video for VCF East. It's mostly edited. I'll be posting that probably Friday or Saturday, and a preview of that is already on my Patreon. So there you go.
All right. Dana, what you got going on?
I actually do have something going on. I bought
What?
These, which
Amazon.
Open yet, but these are.
You bought cardboard.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you bought an envelope.
They're the what do you call it? The cables, power cables for the GPU. The ones that go from 6-pin to 8-pin or whatever.
Fancy.
You didn't get the Pixelus mod? Come on.
Well, I could, but
what sort of card are we talking about?
it's a right here. Mike loves this sound.
I hate you.
Radeon
Look at the baby.
R9 285, made by Sapphire. Look at the copper.
Oh, copper.
The Kappa.
Look at my copper.
That's.
I would show you mine, but it's in my computer.
So is mine, but I don't have a thing because I'm an idiot.
You have a thing.
I got
stuff. So yeah, I'm hopefully going to get this card into that machine, and I'm going to try to put Big Sur and Open Core and all that good stuff.
Nice. Let us know how it goes, please.
I might stream duck it.
Oh my goodness!
What?
Streaming it?
What?
No, ducking, not streaming.
Oh, come on! You have a channel. It's sitting there collecting space dust.
I could. Maybe we'll see.
You know what? If you do it, I'll keep you company.
Ooh.
Well, how can I say no to that?
Now you definitely won't do it. You'll be like Joe on the live stream. Why did I invite this jerk?
Suddenly I think something's come up. There's a natural calamity or something.
The guy at the door. I gotta go.
There's just for folks that are like watching and may not realize, we regularly start up one of these live streams, but without actually going live, and we just call it ducking because the software is called Stream Duck. And so every now and again, someone just says,
StreamYard's logo is a duck.
It's called StreamYard, but the icon is a duck, so we call it ducking.
Yeah, we alternate between the waterfowl that we call the software.
Yeah, that's right. And so every now and again, the chat just comes up and says, "I'm on the duck," and then some of us, whoever
it's better than when Jay texts and says, "I'm on the toilet." You know, that's
which
slightly
is
better.
every 10 minutes.
Well, we're definitely getting our money's worth out of this software. That's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
All right, and how about you, Christian? Anything going on new?
Oh, well, yes and no. Lots of coding, as usual. So that's nothing new, I guess, but something. I'll be around for the launch of Tinker Different and be of assistance to Bruce, amongst other things, when it's launching. Haven't planned further than that.
Yeah, I noticed that that there was a Tinker Different on here, so I was like,
that's Bruce's doppelganger.
No. I'm talking about on our StreamYards here.
Yeah, I'm saying
yeah.
Bruce's doppelganger.
Yeah,
this is alternate reality ego. Whatever.
Okay. Last but not least is me. I don't really have much going on right now. I did come across a compact portable that I'm going to start tearing into. I need to get a boot disk for it. I have tons of floppy disks, but no way to make a PC bootable floppy. So
what type of a floppy?
A 5 1/4.
Oh,
360K 5 1/4.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how about you just come to me and Mike? I have nothing in my schedule now. Let's have a party. Drive X amount of hours and miles just for a darn disc. We can mail
it. Well, I still need to get the Apple II.
Yeah, that's us. Yeah.
The Commodore disk drive, and then there's another disk drive. In fact, I still owe you for that, so I got to give you that.
Yes. Don't worry, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So that's about it for me. So anything else before we close this up, guys?
I will just very quickly respond to Thomas Armstrong's question about any more. We'll just we'll that's probably a spell check issue there because his name's Kai, not the car.
Keyboards are your buildings.
He says he gets that a lot. But anyhow, I do need to build another classic board. So just a quick little history on the classic reloaded board. So obviously I built one. We found a whole bunch of problems. There was a revised version made. It's been sent to me. I haven't had a chance to build it yet. I want to get onto that as soon as possible, but I've got people sort of hassling me for recaps at the moment. So that's been put on the back burner until I get some of that stuff done. Having said that, though, Kai is building his own. So he actually got one made up, and he got it made up with all of the little components on the backside already put on.
That's cheating.
I know it's cheating.
I'm going to do that too.
As he refers to it, he said he got it with all the bird seed on it. So,
I need to request one of those.
But that's just one side. The other side, he has to do the assembly. So he's actually, going in and having a look at that himself. But I do really want to get back and get that one built, because I really want to try out this board. And of course, we want to make this board available for sale, and we can't really do that until we've properly tested it. So, so that's where I am with the classic. But so as soon as I can, I'll be building that. Don't know if I'll live stream it though. I'm not sure if the world's ready for a second classic reloaded building.
We're always ready, Bruce. For you.
You could duck it still, though, right?
Yeah, maybe just duck
every
it.
other word will be a curse under Bruce's breath.
Yeah.
Sad Mac needs the birdseed comment clarified.
Oh, so all the little components on the
surface mount stuff, yeah.
Very tiny capacitors, resistors on the bottom of a logic board. Bruce was doing those all manually, so.
All these things here, all the little bits on the back, they're birdseed. So, yeah.
All right, guys. So just let you guys know, we do have a Discord server. If you want to check it out, let Mike put the Discord link up there. It's very active. We have a lot of participation over there, so go and check it out. We also have a website. If you go to mac-yak.com, there's a lot of good stuff up there that we also put up there. There's some blog stuff that I've actually done. I think Jay's done a few. Maybe, I don't know if Steve or Dana's done anything, but we do have a lot of stuff that we're trying to get put up over there as well. Guys, make sure you hit that like. In fact, we haven't done this yet, so go ahead and play that one.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, we forgot to play that earlier, but that's all right. So just make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. We do this once a week. You're not going to get a whole bunch of notifications, so make sure you do that. And that's about it. I don't have anything else unless you guys do.
Nope. Go away.
Nope. Yep.
Support Macintosh Garden.